I don't want to be bitten. Here's Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
To know.
There you are.
Hi. Don't do that either. There we go. Laptop was tired, so I figured I'd try my phone, and 400 menus later, I'm getting there.
Hashi's teaching the class today.
Awesome.
He'll teach empty step and keeping your 4 points together.
I'm sure he can. Yeah, you just have the problem of trying to prop this up. Interesting.
You're gonna have to get down, you.
No, you're very in my closet.
Good.
We're getting there.
Guys, just what I've always wanted.
Oh. Okay. Woo. There we go. There we go. Mostly here.
Well, probably as much as you can be.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Did you have a busy morning?
Yeah, we for whatever reason we didn't sleep well last night, and
Oh.
we had a late start, and yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad I made it. So, nice to see you. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I still kind of having good days and less good days, but for the most part, I'm on an upward trend.
Good. Yeah.
So I really appreciated your help with the email. That was very weird.
Yeah, I don't you know, I have no idea how because I remember too like the password was what it was.
Yeah.
Before, so I have no idea.
Well, yeah, because the uh, that kind of stupid program, but about every I would say every 2 weeks, I had to enter the passwords again.
Right.
So I knew what the passwords were because I was having to do it every couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And suddenly it didn't work anymore. So
I ended up moving to Frontier. But I know Xfinity started to get really weird for me. Like they updated stuff.
yeah,
Like I was in the company for so long that like I would try to do some stuff on the form or whatever, and it would be like I would look at the errors coming back, and it would be like you got to call Xfinity. But like because I think they were trying to move some stuff around on like their back end, and it was like you're messed up. Um, so I ended up just moving, but so I could totally see them like screwing something up.
yeah. Well, it's all right now. So
Perfect. Perfect.
it's in the past.
Yeah.
So other than that, things are pretty good over there.
Yeah, yeah,
It
pretty
was
good. I've had like this
it was
killer like neck pain this week.
really.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. It's not like I had an event. It's like I slept on it wrong or something,
Yeah.
and now it's like super tight.
Huh.
So Yeah. Um,
You could probably use a massage.
that, yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well,
But other than all of that, pretty good.
good. It was, oh, I have to say, it was so great being able to see all of you in person that day when we just sort of dropped in.
I, hold on, David. Yeah. Yes, it was. Gotcha. Yes, and I just got a note and then knocked over a stack of pictures to get it. Kaya's just asking at some point if you would like um to like go on a walk on our like upper road, or I guess we could go there too, down the dirt road, and just walk on like either side of the road. Um, we did that with uh, one of her friends, and she was comfortable with that. If you're not up for walking, I'm sure we could just do an outside visit too. But yes,
Well, I can walk a ways. I can't go a long ways.
neither do the children, so
But that would be great.
okay,
Sure, we'd be up for that.
okay, yeah. I have no other information about when or where or how, so
But that was a good start.
there you go.
Okay. Well, it's been a long time since
Yeah, yeah.
March, actually.
That's crazy.
Um, so, anyway, do you have any questions at the moment?
Yeah, just like why does it get so hard?
What?
Why does it get so hard? Uh, so I don't know. Maybe because I just don't like come upstairs and like whatever. I don't know. It just feels so much more difficult to like do any of the stuff not in class. Um, which like I know you don't really have an answer for that, so no, but it yeah, that's like my most observation of like I'll try to like meditate and it's like I like do this much in my head about 15 times and I'm like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, like I'm not getting anywhere. Um, yeah, I know that's not really a question, but
Well, I don't think that's an unusual experience.
yeah.
Um, I think uh, it's kind of interesting, actually, in this particular lesson. Um, Bruce talked about the first time he studied Tai Chi, and it was in um, Taiwan, and he felt it was kind of silly learning all these silly movements.
Mhm.
It was a karate. He and his team had won the All Japan Karate Championship in
Wow.
previous year, so he was very, very good at karate.
Right.
Um, and after a couple of months, he asked one of the senior students how you could really get good at Tai Chi, and told him to ask Sensei, the teacher. And
Hmm.
so he asked the teacher, um, and the teacher said, "Well, I'll tell you what I tell most of my students, but also also most of my students never follow my suggestion, and that is to practice the movements we do at the beginning of class, which happen to be opening the energy gates of your body, really intensely and very long.
Gotcha.
And and Bruce took him at his word, and being Bruce, he of course overdid it.
Yeah.
But he practiced 6 or more hours a day, and only 30 to 45 minutes of that was Tai Chi. The rest of it was energy gates.
Right.
And in 2 years, he had gotten to be one of the best students in the class, better than students who'd been practicing for 15 years.
Right. 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 Right.
So it's a matter, it is a matter of practice,
Yeah.
because um, I don't know, I for you, I'm I have done this really complete energy gates training,
Hmm.
which I haven't done with any other students, because I guess I didn't think any of them would really follow through on it.
Gotcha. Well, thank you.
but but that means that you're getting a huge amount of detail that I haven't communicated with most other students.
Mm.
And there is in these you have there's 6 movements in this, of which we've done 3, and we're about to start the other 3. So there isn't a whole lot,
Right.
but what there is within each one of them is huge.
Right.
Um, and I don't, you're right. There's no real answer I can give you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think one thing is, um, because of the way we're doing this, you're getting it in really small pieces. So
Yeah.
the opportunity to really focus on each of those pieces, which is, of course, the intention, and then to incorporate with everything else.
Hmm.
Um, it is possible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're very busy, and that's the other thing we both have to be aware of, and
Right.
that is that um, I don't have any small children around, and I'm not doing a full-time job,
Right.
although there's some weeks this seems full-time.
I was gonna say, I was like, well, I'm sure you spend lots of time on it. So
I do, but um, so I completely understand. I think you have to not be too demanding of yourself, and recognize
yeah.
that it just takes time, and you've got a lot of time. You've got the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
Yeah. I keep I guess because I'm quick to be like, well, Bruce did it in 2 years. you know, like
Yeah,
and
but you heard me. He practiced 6 hours a day.
right. Yeah. Um, I think between that and then like I'll have like you know, I'll do a thing and like have an experience and be like, oh, okay, that's how it should be. I'm very that's like got to be my number one thing of like let's go looking for that now instead of like let's just do the thing. Um, so yeah,
Because the experience is going to change all the time.
right, right.
It doesn't
Um,
stay the same. You could have a different experience with every movement. You could do 20 repetitions and have all 20 be different.
yeah, I guess not. I guess actually hearing that and actually accepting it um, is something I need to work work on because I'm like, yeah, yeah, right, I get it, like totally, but like I don't get it, like. Um,
But so that has to do with focusing on what you are feeling, not looking for some feeling.
right, right, yeah. Um, the moment I like have a thing where I'm like, oh, that felt good or right or whatever, I've essentially have now kind of screwed myself
Yeah,
because I'm yeah, I'm very focused on how that was not even immediately, like you said, in the next repetition, I'm no longer there with it. I'm where that was nice,
yeah,
looking back at it instead of like, yeah, but what's happening now? Um,
exactly. And it's perfectly all right to be pleased and experience whatever the pleasant feeling was, the success of that
right,
moment, but you have to let go of it.
right, yeah, yeah. Um, but that turns out that's hard.
Yes. Yes, it is. And I think culturally it's hard because we're not taught that way from when we're children.
Right, right. It's
We're taught there's a goal you have to reach, and you got
right.
to keep working towards that goal.
Yeah. What did I produce? What is
Yeah.
Li- Lyra's always when I go to class, she's like, "Oh, can you tell me what you learned?" When I when after I'm like, "Well, if I learn anything, I will," because otherwise in my head I'm like, I gotta remember something. Like I have to learn something. So, like and like obviously that's what we're trying to do, but um, it gets into my head. I'm like, I gotta take notes in my head so I can give that report of like, well, this is what I learned. And I don't like it. Same thing. Like if I go on a bike ride, I know we gotta get going here, but I'll go on a bike ride and I come back and Kaya's like, "Oh, how was it?" And it's a nice thing. She's trying to just be like interested in whatever. But at some point I would I told her I was like, "You gotta stop asking me." Because then I don't enjoy the bike ride because I'm trying to keep a mental track of all the fun and interesting things I saw. So when you ask me, I have a story to tell you, but then I'm not on the bike ride.
You're doing that to yourself, though.
I know. I know, David. I know. Yeah.
We do that, you know? We do.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
well,
Anywho,
we will continue on here.
that sounds great.
So, if you look at opening the energy gates of your body from a very large macro point of view, these exercises are and were for 3,000 years one of the most primary developmental forms of Qigong. The practice of just standing was the beginning of it. And in the spiraling energy bodies, which is kind of opening the energy gates part 2, is where all the material for the 200 standing postures of Taoism is located. But if we then take that standing is how you begin to start connecting everything internally inside you. And gravity just, but by the sheer fact of standing, starts making you aware of what there is inside your body. It is because you have a point counterpoint. And this weight of gravity starts causing you to notice how it flows through your body And any place that the gravity hits makes it easy to start recognizing what is happening inside your body. So you might not normally know where your liver or your shoulder or your heart or your lungs are, or this piece of flesh or that piece of flesh. But as time goes on and you relax and this flow of gravity is moving through you, it has the effect that is just like when you put one hand on top of the other. You start feeling what it is pressing on, and then the whole nature of point counterpoint is in anything. But this particular training, of course, is not necessarily about that. But when you go to Cloud Hands, it is about getting your entire body lined up so that chi flows from top to bottom, and you have the process of connecting your body. However, in that, you have an inherent problem. It is terribly easy not to notice if your arms and legs are really connected to your torso and your internal organs. And it's very difficult to tell if your external body movement, your hips and your spine and your internal movements are flowing out of your midsection where your internal organs are. It actually where your internal organs are actually arriving at the end, or whether it is flowing out of your internal organs and actually arriving at the end of your fingers and toes and the crown of your head. So we'll talk about the fact that you have a body, but to actually get that flow of energy, that free flow of energy, moving from your limbs through your torso and eventually from your feet all the way to the top of your head and to your fingertips and back down again, is actually what the primary function of the three swings can do. Now in that process, it's also dealing with the way in which your body turns, because your body has two primary forms of movement, vertical and horizontal. But it also has lateral, up and down, and side to side. But it's very easy to have the sense of the body being segmented into the arms are moving, a waist is moving, a leg is moving, and Cloud Hands is supposed to help you get them all together. But the swings go through the next step, in that once you have this connection built up, how does what's in your midsection travel out to your hands and come back into your midsection? How does the motion between your internal organs and your periphery, arms, legs, feet, and head, start becoming unimpeded in both directions? So for most people who do things like Tai Chi or Bagua, you have a fundamental, major, giant issue. You want to get your hands coming out of your legs and your body, and not just moving independently. In order for that to happen, it is necessary that whatever is coming from your legs, moving through your internal organs, and causing your arms to come out of your body. Likewise, how is it that any time you have any hand motion, that it easily goes into your body and ends up at your feet? And all of this is actually necessary in order to arrive at what is called the Holy Grail of Qigong, and that's Qigong. And that means that your qi is circulating throughout your whole body evenly. Very often, you do cloud hands, you could easily segment your body so your arms kind of have something to do with your waist, and your waist kind of has something to do with your legs. But if the whole purpose is to have complete circulation of energy in the body, they have to be completely connected. And now you have a difficulty. Try to do this in slow motion is sometimes too hard because these little mini gaps can occur. You have it, you disconnect. You have a gap, you have a disconnect. Whereas when you start getting how to do this by whatever the swings are, it starts to become fairly obvious if you're actually getting the chi to move up and down and up, because you can you can change the speed up. So you're not moving so slowly that you cannot notice, and not so fast that it starts becoming impossible to notice if you're getting the flow. So from a giant point of view, this is what you are dealing with. Part of that is now we have two other giant issues. The first one is, are your legs actually connected to your torso? Is it the case anytime you're doing cloud hands or Tai Chi, when it may be easy enough to connect your legs to your torso, but energy gates is done in a very tight area to get the basic connection. And then you have that basic connection, just like once you know how to add, multiply, and divide, you can then do all kinds of mathematics. But if you don't have add, multiply, and divide, you can't do much. And you keep on making mistakes, like 2 plus 2 is 5. So you have to have a foundation. And you get a foundation doing a small movement containing a lesser number of things. It becomes dramatically easier to get what the foundation is than doing 50 to 100 movements and trying to somehow find them in there. So as we begin to look at this, the arms are fairly easy to understand. They are actually the easy part. The harder part is in the three swing. The harder part in the three swings is really in the legs. And we'll give you a large macro overview, and then we'll just get into it. The first thing is that if you do Tai Chi or any sort of movement, we have a question. Are your legs connected to your internal organs and your spine? Is it a clean flow? So, easy in a way to see, if we think about a Tai Chi movement where, I'm going to just tilt this for a moment, where if you're making a step and you do it by moving the leg, obviously nothing's connected. So when you need to make that step, you want the body to do it. So there is a connection from the body through the legs. So you want that supporting leg to cause the energy to go all the way through as you're making that step. The moving leg is connected to the body. If you do Tai Chi, your legs must stay connected to your body. Then you'll get maximum chi flow. If the chi flow from your legs does not connect to your body and to your spine, guess what? It's not going to go to your hands, and it's not going to go to the crown of your head. So what do you do in order to do that? And that leads to a whole other issue. So the motion of the second swing will more or less help you move the energy yes, what am I saying here? So how the motion of the second swing will more or less help you move the energy in every movement you will have to do when the hands are somewhere around the middle of your body. So I think I've once before done these for you, but just so you know what I'm talking about here. With the first swing, we're just staying in that same position that we had in cloud hands. But when we go into the second swing, we have that step I was just talking about. So it's a different movement. Now, another thing that goes on in Tai Chi and Bagua and all forms of Qigong is the fact that your hands go from high to low. They don't always just stay at one level. So now we have the issue of how do you go from high to low? And that leads into a third swing, which we'll get to later because it's really difficult, I have to say. The question is, how do you get the energy from your legs and waist to truly move through your body and lift your hands? So you don't ever want to just lift your hands. You want the movement of your legs and body to lift your hands. So what you're supposed to be doing in Tai Chi is that the energy is supposed to move through in a clean continuum, like when you're playing billiards and you hit the ball with the entire cue so that it moves the energy through it. Then you have the issue of the arms swinging up and down and how you just get something to move up and down. And how do you use your arms? How do you get this flow so that your hand doesn't lift as you lift the hand? How can your hands lift because your leg lifts them? And when your leg lifts them up, how about the dropping of your hands? It's not that you drop your hands. You do drop your hands, which is not the main point. I can just move my hands, certainly, but how about the fact that from the top of your head to your hands, your chi goes right through the bottom of your legs. It goes all the way down. And then when it wants to go up, you don't do anything independently with your arms, because if you don't do anything independently with your arms, the only way it can happen is to get the energy flow to go through your body all the way up and all the way down. And then there is the big giant macro things you're looking at. Now you might say, well, that looks really easy, but wait until you try it, because you're going to encounter one very major problem. The way in which most of us disconnect our arms from our body is that we hold our arms and we want to try to move them independently. What if your arms are just another part of your body? So that's, of course, the intention in the first swing, that you learn to disconnect that holding, and the movement, your arms only move because of the body moving. So the arms are completely relaxed. They are simply being moved by intent and by, obviously, the motion of the body. So this whole thing is about the fact that eventually your chi can move through your organs and come out of your body and through your arms and your legs. In other words, you're getting a clean pass-through of energy from your feet to your fingertips to the crown of your head, in both directions, up and down, as well as you're going to get something else out of this. Most people who do energy gates usually go on to something like Tai Chi. What is the biggest single thing you do in Tai Chi or Bagua, or for that matter, Xing Yi? You do one basic thing. You turn your waist one way and you turn it the other. And as you do that, whatever is in your hands, do they move with your waist action? Well, what that means is that whatever you're doing, if it's Tai Chi, if it's a Tai Chi move, the waist is coming up. What is coming up from your legs and your waist is transferring through your body to your hands. How is that any different from the transfer in swing one? So this is where all this is going in terms of working on something like Tai Chi. And we did all of that. So so what it all simply boils down to is this. The more you try and do energy gates, the more you're going to be frustrated in the beginning. The more you're going to find out that everything you thought your body could do, it didn't. But if you go through it, at the end, you're going to be very happy because your progress will be the fastest it can be. And literally, it's the way of not spending years just doing movements without them producing that much. Because the basic chi thing you're doing, which you're doing a lot of in a lot of moments. Unless you start in childhood, or unless you're incredibly naturally talented, is very hard to understand and to get the basic principles. When you could only do a small number of things and you do it a lot of times, all of a sudden, every single time doing a small number of things, you're constantly confronting the same principles. And if you do it, you don't start becoming, it starts becoming literally obvious. You just can't miss it. And if you do that, you start being able to do the principles. You just start finding out that this cuts through everything else that you are doing, because you are still doing the same principles, and it doesn't matter what the form is, whether it's Tai Chi, Xing Yi, Bagua, the short form, the long form, it's still the same. So if you're looking for what's the specific Qigong that the internal martial arts are completely wedded to, for sure it's got to be energy gates. Now one more point, and this is kind of like my setting you on the right track, I hope. Bruce said when he started off doing cloud hands, his hips were so flexible and open that he knew from his karate that he could easily turn 90 degrees to the side. But he could not keep his posture correct when he did that. So he could only turn about 1 inch to each side and maintain his structure. He couldn't go further. And so that's what you have to do. You have to start just with as small a turn as you can and still maintain your absolute structure. If you don't get these basic things together, then even 30 years later, you're still rotating 1 inch to each side, trying to connect and integrate. So we're going to start off with the first swing. And indeed, the second and third ones are the hard ones. So we're going to start with some basic things. What's your basic? If you learn Tai Chi, for example, or you're just going to be, and you're just going to be hearing that over and over, because they are the basics. They are the basic alignments of every form of Taoist body work. So the first one is this. You have a spine. You have a pelvis, and you have legs, and you have a foot. And now the question becomes, how do you get a clear flow through all of them? First, you just want to have a sense of what your fundamental body posture is. So, for contrast, think about your military posture. So you don't want the military posture with your chest forward and your butt pushed back. In China, if you stick your butt back, they joke about it being a monkey's tail. And what that does is it blocks the energy of your spine and basically makes it stop somewhere around your hips. The one thing that you have to have a sense of, regardless of how little or how much you do, is that the energy of your spine needs to penetrate your legs and arrive at your feet. And most people who do most external martial arts, dance or yoga, their chi doesn't get through regardless of how flexible they are. You want to drop your hips so that the sacrum points straight towards the earth. This is part of the reason why this is one of our basic postural elements. this is effectively going to apply traction on your spine. And traction means that the vertebrae move apart. So what causes most back problems is the vertebrae come too far together and they squeeze nerve roots, and that causes pain. And what we're going to try to do is simply elongate the space between the vertebrae of your spine a little bit so that the energy flow there opens and drops down into your legs and eventually to your feet, so that your spine can penetrate your feet. One of the things that Bruce was told by a little old woman in China was, "Your spine must fucker your foot." So you get the idea. And that's what you want in every movement of Tai Chi and Bagua and every movement of Taoist Qigong and even Taoist Yoga. And if you learn how to sit and meditate, and what you want to have happen is that the energy from your spine penetrating your legs down to your feet, then the Qi of your whole body completes in one circle. Now, you don't want to do this, of course, with any force. This is a matter really of relaxing and allowing your spine to drop. So just stand in your basic structure and just have the sense of your sacrum dropping down, and feel it elongating the lower part of your spine. And how much it's elongating doesn't really matter. What does matter is that sheer fact that it goes down all the way to your tailbone until you feel something going through your legs towards your feet. And at the same time, you must let your midriff get longer. Let it drop down if you can. That's of course the space between the bottom of your ribs and the top of your hips. And just feel your vertebra opening up. And you're pretty much doing this the entire time you're doing opening the energy gates, or when you do Tai Chi or Bagua. In Tai Chi classics, there is one of the classic messages which says the tailbone wants to be central. And central means central to the ground, or in other words, pointing towards the ground, which is not backwards. So just try to tune in to feeling the energy dropping down into your legs. It may not go all the way to your feet at this point. Eventually it will. And then as you're standing there, I want you for a moment to clench your teeth. Scrunch your jaw together and hold it for a moment and feel what that tension is like. And then without opening your mouth, let your entire jaw relax and just have the sense of your jaw dropping down into your body. As you relax your jaw, let your lower back just kind of open up. You can also do this with clenching a fist, but you really want to look at when you're looking at the swings, your jaw's much easier thing to notice than the fist. And then maintaining that openness, just begin to let yourself shift and rotate to each side, but being really aware of maintaining your 4 points and of trying to keep that elongation through the body and letting the energy drop through into your legs. And remember what I said about it not being important that you turn a long ways, but rather maintaining your structure and that openness. And as you do this, try different speeds of movement. Remember what I said about how sometimes going too slowly creates gaps, but going a little more quickly may allow you to find the flow. Remember, you want this to all be on one level, so don't go up in the middle. Completely relax your shoulders and arms. Good. So pause for a moment. What what are you feeling?
Uh, the all sorts of things. The closing, like the closing point. Um, uh, if it is really easy to get that like to pull more than it and pull it out of alignment. So
Yep.
to not do that um, helps a lot. But yeah, like the physically, like right, I'm like, oh, I can. Same thing that you know,
Yeah.
Bruce was saying, like, and when I started, I was like, if I really am honest about it, I can go like an like an inch,
Yeah.
and before and to actually let it stay on the with everything else, I really need to let go and sit so that it can like fold um into the structure, and that helped me help a bit. Finding that speed is difficult.
Yeah.
Because just if I don't start super slow, I it's super easy to miss that inner point or whatever is actually pulling out of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like be like, well, I kind of know what I'm doing, right? But yeah, then like trying to speed it up without losing that. I go up in the middle all the time.
Yeah.
That even when I don't think I am, I'm like, I'm not. And then you said it, I'm like, oh no, I am.
Yes, you were. You reduced it though.
But yeah, right. Like, so that's something I need to keep aware of. Um,
You know, another interesting thing that happened, I noticed that when you were moving from the right to the center, you hit a glitch that obviously there was a gap, a pause.
yeah,
There was a hitch, um, and it finally went away.
right at the end, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I I remembered I needed to breathe.
Oh, that's
Uh,
helpful.
uh, like the whole time, you know. Um, I know that sounds stupid, but like you get so focused on whatever that you're like, oh yeah, like you just kind of fall into like your norm, like computer breath almost. Like when you're obviously not dead, so you're breathing, but like, yeah. Suddenly I was like, oh yeah, like I need to do the whole thing here,
Yeah.
and that kind of just made everything like, oh yeah, okay, I don't need to like clench to like, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Suddenly lots of more things relaxed.
your shoulders and arms were clearly tense.
Yeah, those I think that's why my neck hurts.
Could
It's not,
be.
it's not the vertebrae or the discs. You know, it feels like the muscles are like trying to like pull my head into it,
Huh.
into my, like this. But
Yeah.
so yeah, no matter my problem. Okay, when I feel like I try to relax my arms or my shoulders, I feel like I end up in a sort of like my chest wants to come out when I feel like my arms are relaxing. And I don't know if it's because I'm actually like, you know, like that feels a little more relaxed, but it also, I feel like I'm actually just maybe pulling my scapula in. And
Mm-hmm.
so tension just moves, moves there. And I'm like, oh, well, my shoulders are relaxed because now all the tension's in my scapula.
Huh.
Um, so that's how I end up in like this kind of like funny like posture, and then I'll try to relax, and and then it feels like I'm closing my armpits.
Yeah.
So like I constantly am just like, where do my arms, I like just don't know where those go. You
Well,
know,
yeah, it has the feeling that your shoulders are actually going back too much.
yeah,
That you need to relax your chest and allow the arms to rotate slightly forward.
right. I think like you see, that's like such a not thing that is ever spoken about anywhere. It's all like, like you even see videos like, do your arms go forward, like do these exercises to get a good posture.
Yeah,
And I'm like, that doesn't feel comfortable.
no, that's military posture and it's not good.
Right.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't be straight, but you have to not exaggerate any part.
Yeah, right.
You know, one of um, Yang Jing Fu's 10 important points is called sink the chest and round the back, which has a lot of meanings.
Right.
Sink the chest doesn't mean collapse it in.
Right.
It does mean relax it, but it is really talking about dropping the chest into the dantian. And rounding the back is letting the back relax and release the shoulders and arms forward.
That's a huh.
Um,
I'm trying to like I that's it. One, do you have the other 9 points? Because those sound helpful.
um, yes, we can talk for probably 2 or 3 days about the 10 important points.
Yeah, I guess or like a fly, like a handout or something about that. The sinking the chest into the dantian is an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I feel like that's putting to words what happened right at the end when like that glitch went away.
Aha.
Because I was like, I need to breathe, but I know I shouldn't be like breathing with my chest. Okay, how does that happen? Finally, like I did, like let go of something, and it like something happened. I didn't have the words for it, but yeah, that feels like what happened. Uh, so cool point.
Well, maybe I'll. The problem is that I don't think I have any kind of a handout on those, but I'll try to do some talking about them.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, there's a lot.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there's like a 5-hour lecture on each point.
Well, several minutes anyway.
Yeah.
um, so I think the other thing I want to mention at at the moment is the as you're doing that rotation.
Hmm.
Um, let me. Let me play my camera game here.
Mm.
Is it that as you're doing that movement, you really want to be aware of what's happening in the hips. Um, are you familiar with the iliopsoas muscle?
I think so. I feel like you said it before.
Okay, it attaches on the inside down near your knee and goes up the leg and actually attaches to the bottom of the spine in the lumbar area.
Whoa. Okay.
So that has to relax in order for you to move to move physically smoothly in that movement, and it also has to relax in order for the energy to move through the hip area. So, and also the adductor muscles, which are the muscles, other muscles on the inside of the leg, some of which also connect to the spine, are involved in that also. So when you're doing that, just getting that basic movement back and forth, you want to be aware of that folding of your quad and that those muscles are relaxed through that area. Not that they're tightening up, because that, of course, begins to twist the legs, and knees do not like twisting. Uh,
Right.
and so that really important to try to relax that area. That's this area from the knee through the perineum and back to the other knee is called the dong in Chinese, D-A-N-G. And I don't have a translation for that. It's just always referred to as the dong. We don't talk about that area very much um, in the West, but obviously it is that area of the adductors and the iliopsoas muscle, and it needs to be relaxed. It needs to be soft, so that as you're doing this movement, it's just a fluid movement back and forth. And obviously it's the fold part of the movement there is that folding of the quad, and being aware that you don't want to stop at the sides, that it's that sense we've talked about. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's really the sense of the old rubber band airplanes, like it winds up and it unwinds, and it just keeps doing that from side to side. And you'll find that relaxing the iliopsoas and adductors, getting that dong to be soft, will help you be able to turn further without affecting the 4 points. And that's really important. The 4 points have to stay together. So that can limit how far you turn to begin with. So it's not, we're not giving out gold stars for how far you turn.
Yeah.
It's more how you turn than how far you turn. So, do you have other questions about this?
I'm sure I could come up with a lot, but I don't think there's nothing about what we've talked about.
Okay. So, obviously, this is part of Cloud Hands too, and we've talked about some of this before, but it becomes really important now because in the swings, we are really focusing on the fact that the arms and hands do not move independently at all. At all.
Okay.
So this movement of the body is really critical. Not that it wasn't in Cloud Hands, but it's even more so in the swings.
Right.
So, um, on that note, I'm going to leave you with this much, and we'll look a little bit at the form.
Sure.
I realized that I think the last time we worked on this, on the form, I left out a whole section at the end of the second paragraph.
Okay.
I'm, I'm not positive about that, but I have a real feeling that I did, and I don't know why. Um, Interesting. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, so maybe we should just flow up to that point,
That sounds good to me.
and then I'll then I'll talk about what I left out.
Sure.
So um, up to the punch to the left side was all that was correct. That was the point at which I I I jumped to the end, um, which in a way is easy to do because that's what does happen at the end of the second paragraph. But there's a whole section in there first
Right.
with hit the tiger and kicks and double cannon punch and all kinds of things, fun things. So I don't know how much room you have to flow there.
Not a lot. I'll be resetting quite often.
Would it be better not to try to flow all the way?
Uh, I don't think it would make, this is it's where I got.
Okay,
So,
I can hardly wait till you can be outside.
actually, phone. Yeah, this is slightly more room.
Uh-huh.
Might get interrupted, but that's okay. If I cannot accidentally leave the meeting, and if I can prop my phone up without it falling over, just a few obstacles like that, maybe. You won't see much.
That's all right.
I have a hallway now of room. There's beds on the floor.
Okay. So begin Taiji addressing the earth. So spiraling down into the left, stepping out with the right, rising into Pung, sink, Ji, Liu, on, shift, and release, turn the leg, shift, step forward, shift forward, and ward off left. Reset the right, ward off right, roll back, sink, turn, sinking back, press forward, push downward. Turning, stepping back with the left, shift, twist step into single whip. Turn on the left heel, right toe, release and lift hand, turn, white crane. back and step, brush knee, shift forward, reset, sink into it and play peepaw. Brush knee again, 3 times. Play peepaw. Brush knee. And kick, elbow strike, back fist. Deflect down, punch, withdraw, and push down. Sitting back, turning on the left heel, cross hands. Release the right leg, turn and rotate. Sit back into the left foot, step to the rear corner. Shift. And then back into ward off right, roll back. Press forward. And push downward. And sit back and turn. Stepping back with the left. Shift. Single whip. Sit back. Turn on the left heel. Shift forward, step with the right, ear strike, shift on to the right, touch the left toe, and open to punch, and draw back, and repulse monkey. Step, shift forward, lift hand again, and turn. White crane. Rotate back in and step to brush knee. Shift forward, reset and draw in, circle up, pick up the needle at C bottom. Rise to base level, step, shift forward and fan through the back. Turn, step around, back fist. Pull down, draw in, kick, elbow, back fist, step through, shift, and punch. Sit back, stepping forward and ward off right. Roll back. Turn on the left toe, step around, another single whip. Wave hands, turn on the left heel, right heel. Step forward and wave hands like clouds. Rotate in and step forward and then back single whip, shift forward, reset, rotating back and up, high pat, and then rotating back in and step, shift, ward off left, shift forward and kick right, step with the right and ward off right, shift forward, kick with the left, step back, turn a little and spin, and kick with the left heel, step forward and brush knee, and step with the right and brush knee, and back and turn, step with the left, sinking, punch down, planting punch, turn, step around, back fist, pulling down through and in, kick, elbow, back fist, step, shift forward and punch. So what happens here is you're going to actually go into a kick with the right heel. So you're coming back and turning on the left heel, and a very typical same kick we've done before, shifting forward and coming in and kick with the right heel. The tricky part here is that after you kick, you turn to the left, but you still, and you place the right foot in a parallel stance into Wu Jibu. So you shift forward into your left foot, you kick, and as you place that foot, your body actually turns a little bit to the left. And you go in to hit the tiger. So the first part of this is a different kind of push. You're going to go up a little as you shift left to right. And notice that the arms, you're doing this first completely on those feet. You're more on the left foot as you begin. You go up and you come slightly down at 100% on the right foot. And you're facing a little bit to that right direction. You want to be 100% because the next movement, which is this is the first part of Hit the Tiger. You're going to step to that right rear corner as if for a bow stance. And as you shift to your dynamic limit, the left arm goes up and starts to form a fist. The right hand starts to form a fist and goes down. And as you do your twist step, the hands actually end up at really at the middle dantian and at the lower dantian. So that's a tricky one.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe just do that one a couple more times.
And there, and there's more after this, but if we can get this, this is going to be plenty.
Okay.
So if you go back to the punch with the right foot, is it right foot forward? No, left foot forward. If you go back to the punch, we shift back, that releases the fist. We turn on the left. As you go forward, the elbows drop a little and the hands begin to come up as you come onto the left foot, and then you're going to kick with the right straight to that left side, so out there. And as it comes back and sets down parallel, you have to actually rotate your torso back to the left. So without turning that left leg at your ankle, it stays planted where it is. You're just folding back at the left quad.
Makes sense.
Okay? And then you, coming out of that left quad, you're pushing, the hands are rotating out. And here the difficulty is just keeping the elbows slightly lower than the wrist. Don't let them get out here. And you have to end up at 100% because you're going, as you come to 100%, you're going to rotate and empty step that left foot out, and then as you shift forward to your dynamic limit, and as you rotate, the fists come into position and clench, but lightly. It's not a hard fist.
Okay.
The upper fist is facing downward. The lower fist is facing inward.
Okay.
Nothing to it. You have any questions?
What the fuck? What are we doing?
What?
Are we like punching a guy in half?
I think the idea is that you're actually
Breaking something?
in the kidneys. You've turned them around or gotten around them somehow, and this is a difficult one. I can give you a better idea, but just think about the movement at the moment. It's a complex issue.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't the kick, that step. I'm either, my left foot's either not pointed to the side enough, or when you place that right foot after the kick, it should be totally parallel with the left foot.
More or less.
When I do my empty step, it's like my right foot keeps being like way more of an angle than it should be. You know what I mean? For me to like keep going with it. So it sounds like my left foot needs to be at more of an angle to begin with, I think.
So you want to turn that left foot not more than a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
So, and in this case, getting it to a 45-degree angle is probably preferable to having it less than that.
Right. It feels like I should have it almost more than that.
No.
No. Got it. Okay.
No. You don't want it more than that because then you would not be able to kick to the left side if you have it more than that.
Right.
If you can kick to the left side with it at 45 degrees, you're doing well. And it could be less, in
Yeah.
which case, turn more in. In which
So
case, when you put that right foot down, the toes may be slightly turned towards each other.
yeah, from right there, can you just do the next step?
Yeah. So I'll take the arms away.
Sure.
So here you're letting yourself do a little rise and sink,
Hmm.
100%, and rotate and step. Shift, pick up the right toe, twist step, and you should be in a bow stance to the
At
right
that.
rear corner.
Okay. I was trying to get my your left foot, the forward foot there. I was
Yeah.
trying to go the just the left, not the rear corner. I was like, David, this is awful.
Yes. Okay.
Good job. Gotcha. Okay. That makes way more sense.
That'll make it a lot easier.
Right. Yeah.
You know what? Also, I had that upper, I had that upper hand in hit the tiger in the woo position and not the yang position.
Okay. Also, I totally missed that it's a twist step. That's going to help a lot. Like, and now that I did it, I was like, yeah, obviously it needs to be a twist step. Like,
Yeah, it helps.
yeah. I was like, man, like, I guess I'm just like really tight. I don't know. Like, bring your foot with you. I don't know. But okay.
If you get the punch, we go back, release the punch, turn, shift, uh, go back to the punch. I forgot where I was. Shift back, turn, go back to embrace the moon. As you shift forward, the elbows are dropping, and then you do a kick with the right heel. Boom. And after you do that kick, and as you set it down, ideally empty, you turn left. And then you push 100% on the right, release and step to the corner, and you're in embrace the moon at this point. As you shift forward, the left hand rises, the right sinks, and as you rotate with the twist step, the hands complete. The right hand is actually in front of the forehead and out, and the left is in front of the lower dantian, palm in. The upper one is palm out.
Okay.
So this is supposedly some kind of a hold up here.
Right.
This would be ready to do a punch. You haven't actually done it. Maybe you have. But you're not punching forward. You're just going into this posture.
Yeah. I have a super basic question.
Sure.
In that twist, or maybe I don't know. In that twist step, I cannot mentally. Maybe I can. Okay, sure. Um, is it shift?
Yep. You shift the weight to your dynamic limit on the left foot. And then you, as the first part of your rotation, and it could be perhaps as much as 3/4 of your rotation, you're turning the right foot on the heel. You do not want to be doing twist step at the very end of the movement. You want to be completed before the end of the movement.
Okay, so all I'm doing, my right foot is on the ground. I'm just shifting to my dynamic limit. Now I pick my toe up, my right toe.
Yep.
I'm rotating between 50 to 75%, picking that foot, and then finishing the rotation, but that's like all one thing.
Yep.
I have never done that correctly in my life. Okay, cool.
So all twist steps are done basically that way.
Yep, I believe what I do is I just like smeared it all together.
Yeah.
You just kind of move and twist when you feel like it. Because like I'm still shifting as I'm doing the twist step.
Ah. Yes.
Wow, that's super interesting. I feel like I found this out before too.
What?
Well, I said I feel like I've like found this out before as well.
Yeah, probably, but but I understand.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. I think I can do it. Maybe. Um, and come back. I'm a little foggy on what my hands are actually doing there, but I'm gonna keep going. Oh. Mm. No, the right hand is like upside down.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty muddy.
Okay,
I
it's your
I
left
think I'm
hand.
doing,
It's your left hand that's up, by the way, not your right.
that might help.
Yep.
Uh, so I'm in Embrace the Moon right now.
Yeah.
So these like, and then, oh, yeah, can you just show it again? That'd be helpful.
Sure.
Can you show that twist step? What's going on with the hands there?
Sure.
Because like
So the tricky part of this probably is, well, it's probably all of it. Never mind. So we go back, embrace the moon, shift forward, kick, step, push, 100% step, shift, twist, step, complete.
how 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 are the arms going up and down if we're already at our dynamic limit and we're only twisting?
Um, um, because there's things going on internally we haven't talked about.
Very cool. All right. I don't. As long as it that's passes inspection.
So, um, there is still subtle shift of the weight that's going on in there.
Okay. That
Um,
makes sense.
and it because of your movement from the twist step to the completion of the posture.
Right. I mean, even if I get to my limit and I just do you know, what I feel like it's just a twist, I can feel like more weight on that foot from being not with, forward to
Yeah,
being forward. So I can roll with that.
yeah. Um, Also, one of the things I would say, and certainly it's true in a lot of the things that we work on, it much more true when we get into the Wu style, and that is that your intent can cause movement because you're directing the energy what to do.
But that's what we were doing the whole time.
Well, of course.
Oh, okay. Um,
But I'm just relating this to your question.
yeah, okay. Yeah, because I feel like there's like a really juicy nugget there of like thing, you know? Um, but I don't feel like I'm quite getting it, so it's okay.
Um, well, I don't know what to tell you at the moment.
That's fine. I probably should just focus on getting it physically correct first.
Yeah, because actually, see, the other one of the things that we haven't ever really talked about, and that is the flow of the changing energies in this. So, part of what's happening here is that um, the upper um, arm is actually going to into Pung, and the energy of Pung is rising and outwardly moving force. So it already has your inherent intentional energy of that arm is to rise and move outward. It doesn't have to, but it often is part of. So the upper energy is Pung, the lower energy here is Ji.
Mhm.
So the the lower fist doesn't drop anymore, or drops very little. The upper fist doesn't go up a lot, but it goes up a little bit more as you complete that final motion.
Okay.
So that has to do with when you begin to shift, how much do you allow that to separate the arms?
Right.
Because you can control that. It could just be a very slight separation, or it could be a pretty large separation.
Yeah. Right. Uh, um, my lower hand, my right hand,
Uh huh.
it really wants to, because like when I form that fist and then I'm twisting my left one, my right one like really wants to twist. Does it twist like a little bit?
Yeah,
Great, perfect.
it's twisting in.
Yeah, great. That's because like I was trying to do it with like, oh, I guess that one just doesn't twist at all. And like my body's like, nah, dude, it's got to twist. It like won't let
So
me know.
so um, when you think about it going from Embrace the Moon, where it's like this,
Right.
okay, it's actually, remember that in this form you're in Embrace the Moon. Your hands are not facing the body;
Right.
they're on a slight angle. So you have that amount of twist available to you there.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you have from here to here. It's not. It seems like not very much, but if you think, all right. So a the as you um, there is also bending in and extending out and lengthening in and lengthening out just to get basics here. And
Mhm.
the twisting, which um, twisting can be very subtle because ultimately when you really have twisting, you're twisting the fascia, you're not twisting the muscles.
Right.
So um, the where where we get caught sometimes is we think, oh, twisting in, I'm going to be doing this, and then where do I go with the fist from there? Well, you'd be in real trouble if you did that because there's no place to go. So the thing that's really interesting is that you can be twisting in. Remember that twisting in or out, we're always talking about towards the center line of the body. So you can twist in this way and you can twist in this way with the arm.
Right.
The legs only twist one way, but the
Right.
arms have two ways, and it does not always do the same thing.
Okay.
So initially, ultimately, the twisting out is obviously going to be the little finger edge coming in.
Mhm.
It's clearly what's happening. So initially, the twisting out. The twisting in is the little finger edge going out, away from you.
Right.
Then it's going to come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to go out, but it looks like it's twisting in.
Yeah. Right.
You can focus on the thumb edge.
Hmm.
It could be the thumb edge that's twisting in, and then the thumb edge that's twisting out.
Hmm.
Um, so really, you could focus on either one
Hmm.
in that movement.
Yeah. Yeah. Movement.
You know,
Okay.
that's part.
Yeah.
It's happening all the time.
Yeah. Of course. Right.
Well, that should give you something to play with, anyway.
Yeah. For sure. It's I'm like almost concerned because I'm like it seems like it should be trickier, but like I think I got it. But
Good.
you know, but I'm like, oh no, I must be missing something. It's not hard. Um, or you know, at least conceptually, I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Good.
So okay,
No, um, you're bright enough to be perfectly capable of grasping it.
right.
There's nothing, no reason why you shouldn't. So we'll look at more next time.
Sounds good.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
tell Kaya to let us know when she wants to walk.
Sure. Yes, I will. I'll
Okay.
figure it out.
We'd love it. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. It's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, been
Hang
too
in
long.
there.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.